Tonight I watched Bob's Burgers. It's a really good show. I want to know who specifically in this comment section watches Bob's Burgers. Who are your favorite characters? Because I'm a Louise fan, and interesting. Bob's Burgers is really cool. It's a show where you have it's a couple seasons in. It's been running for a couple years now, but it's still engaging. It doesn't feel tired. They always have different locations. They always have different setups. They have, basic lessons that the kids go through. And they have funny and strange setups for the parents, which is great. Generally, I'm more interested in the kids' stories because I really like that family dynamic. And the funny thing is, almost everybody outside the Belcher family is a jerk. But they have different kinds of jerks, and they usually make them very entertaining. Especially like in the school setting, you get Tammy and Jocelyn, who are usually the mean girl and her friend are usually so unpleasant and so unlikable in a lot of kids shows, but here they're so funny. They have a lot of comedians behind the scenes on the writing staff in the voice acting room. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the delivery. It's the lines. There was one line I remember in the earlier on where Jocelyn's getting dropped off at detention. She's, "Mom, okay, I got detention. That's okay, you're really pretty." I knew that kid growing up. So that was very, very funny. I do like these characters. Don't think this is gonna get me internet flamed or anything, but for the longest time, I couldn't stand Gene. Especially in the earlier seasons, I found him annoying. He was usually the character who messed things up for everybody. But I really like him in the later seasons because I think they toned down some of his more annoying qualities and they played up some of the more endearing ones. I'm also convinced that kid's gender non-conforming, so there are quite a few jokes, especially in this recent season, where I'm like, okay, you know what? Gene seems more like a sister than a brother at times. I think, you know what? If you're gender nonconforming, good for you, Gene. You just stay true to yourself and do your thing, and everyone goes along with that. I think that's really sweet. Actually, now that I think about it, he's kind of got a Steven Universe feel to it. It's the same kind of gender nonconforming character. The cool kids totally go in with all his stuff. They don't make fun of him. And that's kind of sweet. I think that's a really pleasant thing to see. My favorite character, I really like Louise, because she's the mastermind. She's the one who always encourages them to break in someplace, or she has the crazy schemes. And that's fun for me. I love her crazy rivalries with people. And her friendship with regular-sized Rudy, one of the few characters outside the Belcher family who's not a jerk. It's really nice when they have family connections or outside connections with people that are not awful. Because most of the side characters they come across are jerks. Generally speaking, usually at Bob's expense. I also really like how tight this family is. This family, no, they're not very good with their money. They're constantly spending it. They give it a temptation. And how many times do they close the restaurant to have an adventure? But god damn it, they love each other. And I feel like these kids are going to turn out fine. They're not going to be the wealthiest people. They're probably not going to be really high achievers. But they're going to be happy, and they're going to be high achievers in their own way. They're always going to have really good connections with people, and they're going to find their way. Because they always come through everything okay with their very offbeat look on life. There's a really strong point of view here. It's offbeat. And I feel like 20 years ago this would be a very niche show that would become a cult hit, but now it's a mainstream hit. The episode I watched, this took place at a nature site. It was, I can't remember the actual name. They're all puns of some sort. A lot of movie titles. But Tina's getting called an embarrassing nickname, and she's trying to pretend it doesn't bother her, then go on her own adventure of climbing this mountain during this 4-day camping excursion but it's raining and everyone's stuck inside, and she's still getting called Fluffy Butt because of a song she was singing in the bathroom to herself. It's funny because Fluffy Butt sounds like the nickname you give a chicken. I've had pet chickens. Some of them get really fluffy, and you give them stupid nicknames like Fluffy Butt. It's also something I feel like you'd give a cat or a dog, anyways. Just a funny setup. I like these kids. I like all the cool locations they come across. It's a really cool slice of life show that it takes place at a lot of different areas. You'd never think, oh, sometimes it'll be at a sports Costco. Sometimes it's how often is it at the restaurant, actually? A lot of times it's at the school, or they're on a campsite. And sometimes they're at the pier. Sometimes they're at a carnival. Sometimes they're go-karting. Just there's a lot to do. I feel like this can give you ideas on what to do. But Tina meets this hermit in the woods who it turns out to be a thieving glamper who really was only hermiting for 2 weeks. The ranger was also searching for this person for 2 weeks obsessively. Thought she was dangerous, but nope. It's grounded in reality. But you kind of get these, I feel like they're making fun of modern stereotypes. Oh, the whiny hipster who can't escape the comforts of reality, or can't escape the comforts of suburban life, but still wants to be free in the woods and be their own nature, Wonder Woman. Because I wonder if the creator and the team know all these kinds of hypocritical jerks, or at least enjoys making fun of them. But yes, Tina eventually learns that you can't climb a mountain by yourself, and you live for yourself, not for other people. Yeah, straightforward. And she eventually climbs the mountain and gets over the nickname Fluffy Butt, for the most part. There was another episode I watched, which was the kids are playing in the alley behind the restaurant, and this really rude food truck lady, it keeps honking at them to get out of the way, which she does every day. This one was interesting because usually there's a lot of times that the jerks kind of get away with their behavior, or there's some kind of comeuppance in a small way. But this one, I thought it was a really good twist, especially given the series, because I love Louisa's schemes. I'm always a big fan of those. But you learn that the really rude food truck lady, who Louise starts a war with, the pettiest of wars, was actually just stressed because of her life decisions and really probably shouldn't have taken it out on kids. Good lesson to learn, but it's interesting to see, okay, where do some of these rude, unpleasant, everyday people come from? Where is some of this? And you find out, hey, it may not be about you after all, even if someone's taking it out on you. Which is it's unique. I like modern twists on storytelling. I think it's very good. Complain all you want about all the reboots and all the garbage that's being made, but there is a lot of good stuff out there too. There's good ideas out there. And I really like this show. This is one I feel like it stays fresh. There are really cool things you can still do with these characters, and I like them. It's familiar. I feel like Bob's Burgers really is the modern Simpsons. Yeah, it kind of is a family dynamic, slice of life, kind of in its own offbeat absurdity. It's a good show. It's fun. It's familiar.